Alrighty, the first reading is from Genesis 14:18 through 20.
What page is that on?
It is, I'm not sure what page.
Page 161.
161.
Do you got a book, Charlie?
I don't have a book. I can look it up on my phone.
Ta-da.
Do you want to read, Denise?
I thought I lost you to the dark side.
Sure, I'll
Will be in the
read.
bedroom phone.
161.
Absolutely. You be boo-hooing like a...
Yeah, this is the feast of Corpus Christi. They call it Most Holy Body and Blood of Christ.
A reading from the book of Genesis. In those days,
Good luck.
Melchizedek. Yep.
king of Salem, brought out bread and wine, and being a priest of God Most High, he blessed Abram with these words. Blessed be Abram by God Most High, the creator of heaven and earth. And blessed be God Most High, who delivers your foe into your hand. Then Abram gave a tenth of everything. The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God. Okay, so this part of
Page 161.
so this part of Genesis, we have Melchizedek. We don't know much about him, but we do know that he is the king of Salem. So he's a king, and he's also a priest, right? A king and a priest. And that foreshadows both David and Jesus, right? Jesus is the high priest. And actually, David wasn't even a priest, but he was a king. And so actually in Hebrews it says Jesus is not from the line of Aaron, but instead from the line of Melchizedek. And what's Salem? It eventually gets called something else. Jerusalem, yeah. So before Jerusalem was named Jerusalem, it was Salem. And look what he offered. So he's a king and he offers bread and wine. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, Eucharist.
Yes.
Exactly, and so that prefigures the Eucharist. Something that I've heard before, and you probably won't hear it in any other circles, is that in the Jewish rabbis said Melchizedek was actually Shem. And that's not Shem from the Three Stooges, that's Shem, who is the son of Noah. And if you look at the genealogy, it could be. And that kind of makes sense. I mean, it's kind of a bizarre concept, but this goes all the way back thousands and thousands of years. They don't tell you much about Melchizedek, and actually, that's okay. But he is a king, and he's given. And the fact that Abram pays tithes to him shows that he's a lesser person than Melchizedek. And so that's kind of interesting. Were you going to say something?
Is he from the family of Shem or Shem?
He may be Shem himself.
That's what I meant. That's the part that's bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
Years.
Well, I mean, if you look at the genealogies, it tells the lifespan. And so we think Abraham was so far away from Noah, but actually Abraham, Noah's son was alive when Abraham was alive. So the genealogy that they're talking about is, that's Uncle Shem, he's the king of Salem. That's the Holy Land is Salem, right? And he was a righteous man before God. And so when you think about it, this does kind of make sense.
Did they have females in the family that lived that long?
Yeah, they would have. Yeah, females live long and males live
I never
long,
hear about that.
right? So yeah, but I just thought that was interesting because I had heard about this before.
That's odd.
Yeah, you don't hear that. That's not, but it's actually part of the Jewish rabbinical tradition, and this has been from 3,000-4,000. This goes all the way back, and so they kind of believe that this Melchizedek was Shem, and so you won't hear that by most Catholics, but it is. I thought I'd bring that to you, but also he says, "Blessed be Abram," and this is before he was named Abraham, right? God changed his name from Abram to Abraham. By God the Most High, the creator of heaven and earth. So that's kind of interesting because all the other people in that time were not monotheistic. So they believed in more than many gods. There was a God of this, God of that, God of everything. But Melchizedek believes in only one God. And so that in itself is very unique. He doesn't, so he said, and blessed be God Most High, who delivered your foes in your hand. So Abram didn't do, it wasn't his victory, it was God's victory. Did you bless them? Okay, great. Then Abram gave him 1/10 of everything. So we see this part that he's given tithes. And so that's more of a submission by Abram to Melchizedek. It's kind of, he sees that he's the authority. And so, again, this is the Feast of Corpus Christi, and you'll notice in all the readings, of course, it's pointing to the Eucharist. This, in the Old Testament, we have the prefigurement of the Eucharist. This sacrifice of bread and wine is replaced when, Moses' brother Aaron, right? What their sacrifices were what? Animal blood, right? And so Eucharist actually means thanksgiving. And so we're partaking in the Passion. We'll get into that in the Gospel reading, but it's the Eucharist. It's a thanksgiving offering for what Jesus accomplished and his once and for all offering, his sacrifice.